All right, now we're going to try our hand at making a crate like what you might find in a video game. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a box. I'm just going to draw the depth and the width, come up a little bit, and then I want to add segments. So width segment, I'm going to change this to 2 and hit check mark. Height segment, change that to 2 and hit check mark. Depth segment, change that to 2, hit check mark. I must have missed one. Height segment 2, hit check mark. Depth 2, height. Okay, so they're all at 2. So let's go see what this did. So what it did was it broke it into pieces. Now this is way wider than I wanted it to be, and that's not really an issue. I just click on it, bring up my gizmo, and then see the green guy here, it just says scale, and that just means in one direction. So I just pull this in and I can scale this back to about a cube, which is good. Okay. So now I got a cube which looks like this, and I might zoom in a little bit for you, and we're going to take a look at what we're going to do next. We're going to turn it into a crate. So first order of business is we are going to go to the face tool, select a face, and then hit Control A for all faces. Once we got all faces, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to go over here to a button that says bevel. We're going to click on bevel, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to click. Once we click, this little menu should come up, and I click on inset and I just pull in right from inset, and you should see that I start creating faces that are brought in from the edge. So pull it in until it looks maybe about like this, and then just let go, and then you can just click off of it for a moment. So now I've got a box that looks like this. Now I'm going to take the faces that we've got and I'm going to extrude them in a little bit. So I'm going to take the arrow and I'm going to push it in. Now I'm not going to go too far. I just want it a little bit inside so I can see the difference between the two. If you go too far, you start hitting the other ones that you're dragging in and it doesn't look quite right. So just go in a little bit. Okay. So now if we click off here, this is what we got to this point in time. And now I'm going to see if this works this way, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope, because this would actually help me out. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say duplicate layer. Okay. And the faces didn't stay duplicated, so it didn't work all right. So I'm going to go to the layer tool, and we'll go get it in a minute. So I go to the layer tool, I click on one of them, and now this is going to be layer 1. So I just move layer 1 off. And as you can see right now, I've made another identical copy. So these two crates side by side, identical. All right. So now layer 1 is the guy off to the right, and layer 2 is down here. So layer 1, we're going to call this guy our cage, and layer 2, we're going to call this guy the inside box. Okay. We're going to click on the cage for a minute, and we can move it if we want to, but that's not what we want to do. So I'm going to click off, and I'm going to click on faces. Now again, I wish I could have done this the other way, because this would have been a little easier, but I'm going to work it this way, and I'm just going to start clicking. So I'm going to find every single face, and this is going to take me 24 clicks, but that's not too bad. And I'm just going to click around all these inset faces on the layer called cage. Again, make sure you're on the layer called cage. The ones on the inside might be a little harder, but they're not too bad. Okay, and get your bottom ones. If you make a mistake, let's say you hit one of these, all you can do is right click and it'll disappear, so that's not a problem. All right, and that's going to be one of the keys for the next one. So now I've got all the faces on the one we called cage done, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to trash them. So this truly is just a cage now. And this cage, I'm going to go ahead while we're on it, hit color picker. I'm probably going to go to a really light blue of some sort, and I'm going to go make it steel. And I might change the matte to some sort of 3D print or some sort of maybe woven. And so right now I've got what looks like a metal cage over here. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this other one, and I'm just going to take this other one and do the exact opposite. So I'm going to click on inside box, and let's say I click on one of the faces this time, and I'm going to hit Control A for all the faces. Now, just like we clicked on the last faces and we highlighted them, we're going to right click on all these faces. And as we right click on these 24 faces, it's going to actually deselect those. So again, it might take me a moment or two, but it's not too bad. I just go around and right click, and I just deselect those faces. And I've got, I think, 8 more to go. I got this side. And oops, no. There we go. And I've got the bottom. And by the way, there, you saw me hit the back button. I made a mistake in it all unclicked, and I hit the back button. Everything was all right. So as you can see now, I've got the cage highlighted, but the faces aren't. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to delete the cage. So since the cage is highlighted, we hit delete selection, and the only thing left over is the boxes. And then we can color these boxes however we like. Now this depends on what kind of game you're making. If you're just going to make a standard box that might be one of them is a standard crate, and this one is called the strong crate that you need, I don't know, a dynamite to blow up or something like that. And maybe you just choose wood on the inside, and maybe you choose, I don't know, oak or whatever else. And then all we got to do is we got to go back to the cage, click on layer, click on the cage, and then we should be able to move it straight to the left and overlap it back over. So now if we look at it, we've got a box, a crate, and we've made a crate with a steel cage on it. Now, I missed a couple over here, so I'm going to have to be careful next time. I may have to do it again, or I may just copy and paste. Let me see if this would work. So if I clicked on this face right here, let me go back to the face tool, and I clicked on this face right here. What if I control C and I control V? Would that work? Don't know. I'm going to grab it and move it. It did. All right, so I did make a mistake here and I deleted too many, but I used the old copy and paste. So I'll do this one, Control C, Control V, and again, I'll grab the green arrow to move, not the scale, but the move, and I just slid this other face over in line. All right, that's about good for today. Now, obviously, you've played video games where you've had different types of boxes. We could do different things with these coloring. We could color these, green for nitro, or we could color these red for dynamite or whatever else. And so that's a way to perhaps make some boxes and crates that might go in your video game. Thanks.